video. So this morning it's a rather gloomy and subdued, damp October morning here in Northumberland, and behind me we're going to be clearing the vegetation from around this pond, around the margins and in the pond itself. You'll have seen from the previous shots it's quite an elaborate setup. There's a spider filter system under the gravel in the pond here, feeds up to the top pool that you saw in the little video clip before, and there's a nice little stream feature with a couple of bridges coming back down into this pond here. So what am I going to be using to get in there? Well, I've got my very sexy thigh length waders. Hot. I shall mainly be using my Scythe. It's an Austrian model with the 75cm general purpose blade. Don't want anything too long. The liner in this pond is well concealed with gravel and rock work, so there's no chance of actually puncturing the liner unless I literally stab this into the gravel at the bottom, which I'm not going to do. And then obviously for sifting the stuff out, I've got a couple of rakes, a more heavy duty one, and then for the leaves and things on the shoreline I've just got the Springbok rake, and as you can probably hear, they're all propped against the wheelbarrow. Oh yeah, so everything's here. So we're going to start just scything down the marginal plants planted around the outer edge of the pond. Might dip in and nip out some of the iris right on the pond edge there. So here I'm just nicking out some of the flag iris, Iris pseudochorus, just taking it off just below water level. Getting in the pond here, and I'm snicking out the stems from the water lilies, which are obviously planted quite deep, and I'm cutting them off quite close to the crown of the plant, just to reduce the amount of stem that's left in the water. See, I'm being very careful not to kill the two ducks. They're very tame. So here I'm using the grass rake as a scoop, just to take off all the cut vegetation that's floating on the surface, to get it clear of the pond. Ah, there appears to be a spider on the camera. Somebody remove him, will they? That spider's a bit of a distraction. So I'm just using the heavy duty rake to grab out some of the big lumps, the big sort of mats of the oxygenating plant. And I'll leave that on the side for a while, just to allow any small invertebrates or baby amphibians to retreat back into the pond. The nice thing about this pond is it's got no fish in it, it's just wildlife, so lots of invertebrates and a good supply of amphibians. So everything gets raked up, dumped in the wheelbarrow, and then taken off to the compost heap. So there's the finished result. Nice and tidy. Whoa, it's taken some time, but so the reason for doing that is to reduce the amount of sludge and silt and sediment that builds up from the decomposing plant matter in the bottom of the pond. So we've just cut it away, taken it off, composted it over in the compost heaps which you've seen. That's it. We'll leave that now over the winter. Come back in probably March time with a replacement recyclable barley pouch straw. So that's been in here. Actually, when did I put this in? It was fairly late on. It was May time. The blanket weed had already started to develop, but it clears it up really nicely. So that's the benefit of the pegs. You can open that up, empty out the old stuff, which I'll do on the compost, take the net home, give it a bit of a rinse, and then refill it with fresh barley straw to bring back in the spring. We'll do that a bit earlier this year, just so it's starting to activate before the blanket weed gets a hold. We've also got two smaller barley straw pouches in the top pond, one in the top pond and one in the sort of little midway pond down the stream. It just catches the blanket weed at all the intervals down the little stream feature. And they're available from the Wilderness Tamed eBay store. Grab yours while they're hot. But it's gone from being a bit dank and misty this morning to a glorious day. I can't think of anything further to add other than I just switch this thing off.